Welcome to the Mixed Reception Podcast. I'm your host, Barrett Sigmund. And today we have a huge guest. I've been trying to get this guy on here for a long time. Kasey Kennedy, what is up?
What is up, Barrett? Very happy to be here, man.
So Kasey Kennedy, he is in the sketch group ComicKaze, a great sketch group. I actually had Patrick C. Taylor on here maybe 5 weeks ago. We did The Phantom. And also you are the co-host of the URC, the Ultimate Roast Championship.
Yeah.
And that comes out every Sunday?
Every Sunday at 5 we put out a new episode. Right now we're actually in the middle of doing our Tournament of Champions, like our little Jeopardy knockoff.
Awesome.
So it's like a bracket style tournament, and we actually have a cash prize to the winner. So
how much? How much we talking?
It's just $100 because me and Austin pay for it out of pocket. You know what I mean?
Hey, $100 is $100. I got a new job now. I'm not making as much, so $100 means a lot more to me now. But today, I hit you up. I was like, let's do a movie, and we decided to do Avatar, which I find kind of an interesting choice. I think if you, on the surface level, I think you look at Avatar when it came out, obviously at the time it was the highest grossing film of all time. It got great reviews. It was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, including Best Director, Best Picture, and on the surface level, it looks like a movie that everybody loves. I don't know. I just feel like lately, this movie's reputation hasn't. I feel like it's gone down a little bit. I feel like a lot of people hate on this movie. I don't know.
So that's actually one of the reasons why I picked this movie, because to me, it's such a unique thing in cinema history where this film came out and people were raving as this is one of the best films ever made. But it was all because it had such beautiful visuals and the graphics were so amazing. And so many people went and saw it in theaters, but I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have said oh yeah, I saw that movie in theaters and I haven't thought about it since.
Me
you know
too.
What I mean?
Yeah, it's so surprising. So many people, I'll bring it up and they'll just be like, that movie, it was okay. It's just and that's another thing too. I think people just look at that movie and they're like, well, it's unoriginal. It's just Dances with Wolves. It's just the last Samurai, Pocahontas. Yeah. Actually, that was the direct inspiration for that Pocahontas gave James Cameron the idea to do the movie, but. Fantastic visuals, but I think a lot of people also too I don't know, the characters aren't super memorable.
Everybody besides Sigourney Weaver. I mean, Sigourney Weaver is a queen and she's amazing in everything she ever does. But everybody else is terrible in that film.
I've heard Sam Worthington get called a wet blanket before. I do like Stephen Lang. We'll get into Stephen Lang.
He's pretty good.
I love all the military people in this movie. They're all super douchey and they say hilarious things. But So what is your experience with this movie? Did you see it in theaters or?
Yeah. So this is kind of this weird thing where this phenomenon I was talking about, where I saw this. This is one of the only films that I've actually seen twice in theaters.
Whoa,
I don't go see films twice. When it came out, I saw it originally, and then everybody kept saying you have to see it in 3D. So then I went back and saw it in 3D. So I saw it 2 times when it came out in 2009, I think it was. And I haven't seen it since then until last night. I rewatched it last night.
Holy shit, so it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while for me, too. I think the last time I saw it was 2012. I think maybe I saw it on TV or something.
So I tried to go into it with fresh eyes, knowing I was going to be on the podcast about it. And I got to say, the plot is really bad.
I don't think it's bad. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with it being a familiar plot. We said, it's Dancing with Wolves or Pocahontas. I'm fine with that. But if you put a different twist on it, which they kind of did. I mean, it's basically taking that story and putting it in a different environment, like space and this other world. So I'm okay with that. I don't know. We'll get into it. I do feel like the movie is very long. I don't complain a lot about the length of movies. I hate when people do that. But watching it again this morning, it felt a little long. It felt like it dragged a little bit.
I agree. I had the same thought last night. In fact, my wife, she had never seen it before.
Really?
Yeah, and she actually fell asleep at about the hour and a half mark, right when the military battle was beginning, which is when the action really ramps up, she fell asleep. And she woke up like a half hour later, and she's like, this is still going on? Like, how is it not over yet?
Yeah, when he has to do, like, I guess the trials to become one of them, and, like, what's her name's, like, teaching him how to, whatever, their ways, I paused it. I'm like, holy fuck, we're only halfway through this. Jesus.
Yeah.
Why do you think this movie was so, like, big?
Well, first, there's two reasons. One, obviously the graphics are beautiful. I mean, there's no one can take away that the visuals in this film are absolutely incredible. Like, they were sort of the groundbreaking in a lot of ways. And then two, it's because it's a James Cameron film, and James Cameron makes movies. I mean, this is only the second movie he made since Titanic, and he hasn't made one since.
You know what's sad is I've kind of come to the realization that, and James Cameron is not a young man anymore. He's like in his late 60s, I want to say.
Yeah.
And it's like he hasn't made a movie since Avatar. The next like 5 movies he's doing are the Avatar sequels, and it's just like, and I'm a huge James Cameron fan, and it's just like, holy shit, like, you're going to be making Avatar movies the rest of your life. And it's just like, he's got such a great mind. He's so talented. I just want to see him do something other than Avatar.
I think he's done this thing that a lot of directors get into this, where he fell in love with this world so much, and when it came out, it got so much praise and like all this critical acclaim. But then a year later, all of a sudden, everyone starts shitting on it and saying, oh, no, it's a ripoff. It's not that good. And so he's probably got this chip on his shoulder where he's like, I'm going to show you guys this is a great world that's got lots of storytelling inside of it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, he thinks that. I don't think that. I don't know what else you could do with Avatar.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, I think it seems obvious what's going to happen. The humans who left are just going to come back with more weapons, right?
I read a plot synopsis. That's like what's going to happen. It's like they have kids now. Sam Worthington and I don't even know her name. That's the thing. I don't know half the people's names. The fairy or something. And and so it's like, I guess, yeah, they come back, and then they're going to like explore other regions of like Pandora. I know there's going to be some like underwater sequences.
Yeah, I heard the big thing for this is like underwater. Like I read that the reason why Avatar 2 has taken so long to make, which I'm sure we're going to talk about that, because Avatar 2 has been in development hell for 10 years, but the part of the reason is because James Cameron, famously innovative filmmaker, as I'm sure you know, he developed a technique for motion capture underwater, which was something that previously had never been possible. And that's been a huge part of the making of Avatar 2.
That's another thing, too. Like, I'm going to see Avatar 2. Also, it's been pushed back like 8 fucking times. This was supposed to come out in 2014. I read that just now. And it's not coming out until 2022. What's the over-run? I bet you $1 million. I don't have $1 million, but I'm comfortable making this bet. It's going to get pushed back again.
The only reason I think that it might not is because, from what I read, principal photography has already finished.
Yeah, I read that too. Yeah. Now, they just affect stuff now.
And I would think, not being involved in that aspect of filmmaking, I would imagine that as far as the pandemic goes, like, there are worse aspects of your film you could be working on than post-production for a pandemic. You know what I mean? Because most of that is going to be, a couple of guys in front of their computers who are developing these scenes frame by frame. But that's something that you can do just as well at home as you can in a studio, So I would think that I wouldn't expect it to get pushed back too much farther if principal photography is already done and they're really just working on post-production. I mean, I don't know, though. Who knows? It's been
well, not only is he doing Avatar 2, but it's like he's doing 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like, why do we need that many fucking Avatar movies?
That's crazy.
But also, another reason why it was popular, it was a perfect storm. Like you said, it was James Cameron hadn't done anything in a while. And yeah, it was groundbreaking special effects, but also like
the first big 3D movie.
Well, I was gonna say, like, 3D, like, and I hate 3D, but like, and I will say, like, this isn't the best movie I've ever seen in the theaters, but it might be the best like experience I've ever had in the theater. Like the 3D, and I will say we'll get into it, but like rewatching this again, and I still enjoyed it for the most part. I just was like, I'm sitting there like the boring parts where she's like teaching him everything. I'm like, God, like the visuals are good, but like, God, this would be so much better like on a big screen and in 3D. It's just I feel like the visuals lose a little bit of their punch when you're watching it on like a fucking 43-inch flat screen. It's just not as good. But
this is one of those films that when it came out, I'm sure you had friends tell you the same thing where it's like I went and saw it originally in theaters, and I had people saying like, dude, you haven't seen this in IMAX 3D. This is a film you have to see in IMAX 3D. And I think this is one where a lot of people saw it twice, because I think a lot of people probably did what I did where, I saw it originally and I was like, oh, that was really good. But then, I mean, this was the most hyped 3D film I could think of really ever, right?
I'm trying to think, like 3D. Well, after this movie, like the floodgates opened because it was like, I would say before Avatar, 3D was starting to kind of reemerge. I feel like 3D comes in waves. Like I feel like every 25, 30 years, 3D comes back. Like in the 50s, they were doing a lot of 3D movies. In the early 80s, 3D was kind of coming back. There was like a lot of horror movies that were doing the 3D stick. Yeah. And like the late 2000s, early 2010s, 3D was huge. I mean, not every movie has to be in 3D. That's what kind of sucked is like they would make these movies and then just post-convert it. Only a select few 3D movies needed to be in 3D. I like Life of Pi is another good example. Like that was great in 3D.
I think that part of the reason that Avatar gets the hate it gets is because people associate it with when all of a sudden every movie started doing 3D. Because that was the movie, like you said, the floodgates opened, and like there was a big horror film that came out right after Avatar.
Was it Final Destination?
I want to say maybe it was like a Friday the 13th or a Halloween or what. It was
I want to say it was Final. I want to say it was like the Final Destination. I remember seeing that in theaters, and I love those Final Destination movies. They're fun, but
because I remember there was like an axe that was like
My Bloody Valentine 3D.
That's exactly what it was. It was My Bloody Valentine, and I remember like I went to see that movie, and I'm like, why the fuck is this in 3D? Like, and it was one of those films where. I don't mind if they take a film and they make it 3D, but a film that doesn't work if it's not 3D, like My Bloody Valentine, like the stuff where the axe is flying at the camera, and it's like, this is dumb if I'm not watching this in 3D. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, actually, no, I'm the opposite. I prefer, if you're going to make a movie in 3D, it either has to be like Avatar, where like everything works in 3D, or you have to have little gimmicks, but like just taking like a regular movie and just post-converting it when it's not really meant to be 3D. That's what, and they did that for money. I mean, obviously, like
because they can charge $2 more per ticket.
Yeah, it's $15 instead of a fucking $10 ticket. But well, should we get into reviews at the time?
Sure.
All right. So Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times, gave it a perfect 4 out of 4. And tell me if you agree with these. I got some positives. I got some mixed. Extraordinary. Watching Avatar, I felt sort of the same way when I saw Star Wars in 1977. Like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, the film employs a new generation of special effects and is not simply sensational entertainment, although it is that. It's a technical breakthrough. I mean, I agree. I don't think this movie is as good as Star Wars or Lord of the Rings.
No. I agree with his assessment that it is a technical revelation. Here's my issue. How can you give this film a perfect score when the dialogue is so bad? The dialogue is truly terrible.
I don't know if I would call it like terrible. It's serviceable. Everything in the movie is serviceable. I think what lifts it up are the effects. There wasn't any line that was like, oh God, or maybe I
disagree.
Know. Yeah, I got some
3 or 4 moments. I mean, literally, one of the first things that they say in the film, Stephen Lang's character, I mean, there are tropes, and then there are, wow, you really couldn't even come up with a twist on this trope. He literally says to the Marines, he says, you're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, I put that in my notes. I love it. Oh, my God. Man. Stephen Lang is a treasure in this movie. I love schlock, and I appreciated that. That made me laugh. I enjoyed that.
That's intended to be schlock, and that wasn't. This film took itself seriously and thought it was a dramatic masterpiece. And that's my issue. I don't mind bad dialogue if it's intentionally bad, but this dialogue thought it was good.
Oh my God.
The whole I see you, all this like I see you stuff, every time I'm just like, oh my God, like I'm rolling my eyes through the back of my head.
Oh, I love his line. He's like, if there's a hell, you might want to go there for a little R&R.
Yeah.
Oh, that one point he calls the Avatar program's a joke. It's a bunch of lit dick science majors. It's great.
See, I don't mind that, though, because that's leaning into the character of, like, he thinks that everything besides war is stupid. You know, I can get on board with that. But, like, I mean, really, we're going with the fucking Wizard of Oz reference. You know, I don't know.
No, you're not wrong. Oh, you're not wrong. I think because it was so stupid, it made me enjoy it. I don't know. We got Peter Travers, Rolling Stone, gave it a 3.5 out of 4. Quote, it extends the possibilities of what movies can do. Cameron's talent may just be as big as his dreams. I mean, it's not wrong.
Not wrong.
He really did kind of make his dreams a reality in a sense.
Well, you got to respect. James Cameron said, I want to make this movie. I'm not going to make this movie until the technology exists to make this. Oh, the technology doesn't exist yet? I'm going to invent the technology to make this movie. I mean, that's essentially what he did.
What pisses me off, though, I respect waiting, but, like, I don't know. Like, we had to wait 12 years for another movie from him. Like, couldn't you have just, like, put that on the back burner?
He did one in between. He did a shitty movie in between.
What was it? Was it that documentary about Titanic or something? I don't know.
It was called, like...
Oh, Ghost of the Abyss or something?
Ghost of the Abyss. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, wasn't that like a documentary? Or I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it was.
I haven't seen it.
I just know because I looked at his Wikipedia page this morning.
Kenneth Turan. Los Angeles Times. Powerful visual accomplishments, but flat dialogue and obvious characterization. I agree with that.
That's a very good assessment.
Yeah. We got Andre Pulver, Guardian. It's baggy, long-winded, and, for all the light-speed imagery, just not quick on its feet. Cameron used to be the tautest filmmaker around, but he just got slack. It does kind of drags. Yeah, I've said before, it does kind of drag a little bit for me. So I agree with that assessment. And then I got one more. Scott Tobias, AV Club. Avatar is a weak patchwork of his other films. The lead-in voiceover from Terminator 2, here, the military-civilian conflict from Aliens, there, even a Jack and Rose style forbidden love story cued to adult contempo soundtrack. Okay, do you remember that when the movie ended and that song came up?
Yes, which was weird, right?
That was a horrible song. Fucking horrible song. It was like a Celine Dion like ripoff. It was like so bad.
I was confused for a second. Like,
it did not fit the movie.
It almost felt to me like, you know how sometimes when you're watching like Netflix and like the preview for the next movie will pop up and you'll like that soundtrack. I thought that there was a soundtrack for another movie starting, like it was getting ready to go to something else. Like I was really confused by that.
Yeah. So where would you rank this amongst Cameron's other movies? It does kind of borrow elements from all of his movies. I do kind of agree with that.
Full disclosure, I have not seen a lot of James Cameron's movies.
Whoa.
I know. I've become a film buff in the last few years, and I'm still working my way back through like film history for a lot of important films. So I've seen Titanic, and I just rewatched Aliens the other day.
Oh, great. But you don't like action movies, you told me.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like a lot of action movies. I truly believe Aliens is a masterpiece.
Oh, for sure.
Like, when I rewatched it, my jaw was, like, hitting the floor at how incredible. I was on the edge of my seat the entire run. And it's not a short run. It's like a 2.5-hour run.
Yeah, with the director's cut. Yeah, it is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and I loved every bit. Okay, I know we're talking about Avatar, but just quick, one thing. So there's this scene in Aliens when they're first walking into the nest and they have like the little radar thing that beeps when they're like close, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like such a sort of a subtle effect where this scene is like, 8 to 10 minutes long, and the beeping is just getting ever so slightly quicker throughout the entire scene. And, and it's just constantly in the background where you have moments where you kind of forget that it's there. But then when you notice that it's getting faster, you realize it's there again, and you're like, oh, my God. And there's no music over a lot of it, so the tension is just building and building. And then that's when they have the moment where they, like, kind of like they're in the walls. I mean, what an incredible moment of film history. I mean, my heart was thumping out of my chest, and I've seen this movie before. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's great. Have you seen the Terminator, like 1 and 2? Have you seen those?
I have not.
Oh, you got to see T2. That is one thing I will say. I'm not too excited about the Avatar sequels, but if you look at James Cameron, like, he directed T2 and Aliens, which are two of the best sequels of all time. So I don't know. You kind of have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he could pull it off. I don't know.
I had the exact same thought. I was like, wow, he did T2 and Aliens. I mean, maybe Avatar 2 will be good. I don't know.
Have you seen True Lies? That's another one he did.
I haven't. Didn't Tarantino write that or something?
No, you're thinking True Romance.
Oh, True Romance.
Yeah, this is True Lies is a Schwarzenegger flick.
Okay.
It's great. I know you don't like action movies, but it's actually really good.
Oh, it's Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yeah. Oh, she does a striptease.
I've seen that scene for sure. But I've seen like half of that movie.
Oh, you got to finish it. So good. And also he did The Abyss. Have you ever seen that one?
I've seen clips from it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
Yeah, I love James Cameron. He's got a great track record. Just move on from Avatar. Just do something else. All right, Rotten Tomatoes. This got an 82 with the critics. I'm telling you, people love this movie at the time. Audience got an 82.
That's what's so weird. I bet if you polled those same critics today, I bet it would get a 35.
I don't know that low. I think it would be more mixed, though, for sure. Consensus, it might be more impressive on a technical level than as a piece of storytelling. But Avatar reaffirms James Cameron's singular gift for imaginative, absorbing filmmaking. That's not a bad consensus. Metacritic got an 83. That's high.
Yeah, that's very high.
And IMDb got a 7.8. Which I think a lot of this is just like at the time. Like, I think it would be interesting to see if this movie came out today and what the IMDb score would be. I bet it'd be much lower.
Yeah.
All right. Box office, like I said before, this was the highest grossing movie of all time until Avengers Endgame beat it. It was number one at the box office for 7 consecutive weeks. It's crazy. Titanic was like 15 weeks or something. Budget, 237 in the U.S. It made 749. And worldwide, 2.7 billion. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money.
You know what trips me out is one of the reasons that I know he had a hard time getting Avatar made is he couldn't get funding. And one of the reasons why Avatar 2 was taking a long time is because he was having a hard time getting funding. But, like, the dude had Titanic, which was the highest grossing film ever, and then Avatar, which became the highest grossing film ever. He had the top two. Like, how can you not give this guy funding? Like, what else does this guy got to do to get a budget?
Well, Avatar 2, I don't know. I think it will do well. I'm predicting it's probably going to make around half of what the last movie did. I just don't think there's an appetite for it. I think they should have struck while the iron was hot. Like, I think people would have been down for this in 2012. It's 2020 now. I don't think... And like you said that you talked to someone who was like, oh, yeah, I saw that when it came out, and I forgot it. Like, I don't think Avatar is, and I like the movie. I don't know if I could call it a classic. I don't think it's like a Star Wars or a Lord of the Rings or like a classic franchise, you know?
Here's the thing. Okay, even if it's a very expensive film to make, like say it's a $500 million budget, it's going to make $1 billion, right? Like, is there any question that it's going to make $1 billion?
That's the thing, yeah. I mean, it'll make money. I just don't think it's going to make nearly as much. But like, yeah, like, even if you make half of, like, 2.7 billion, yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm really interested to see, like, how that movie's going to do.
I mean, I'll go see it. I can guarantee you
I will
that.
go see it. I will go see it. I mean, I love James Cameron, but I don't know. This was such a one and done story. That's my thing. Like yeah.
One thing that kind of bummed me out is they do a lot of teasing early in the film about how incredible this world is, and oh my God, there's creatures out there you can't imagine, and this kind of. And don't get me wrong, like I do like some of the exploration of the wildlife, but I really felt like with the amount of teasing they did to like, you can't trust anything out there. You won't last a second.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, like Stephen Lang's got scars all over his face. I'm just like, that isn't anything like too dangerous out there.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there's like the one lizard thing, and then there's the flying Turok or whatever his name was. But other than that, like, I mean, it just seems like a forest. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem anything crazier than what you would see in the fucking, the wild forests of Brazil or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
all right, should we go into notes? I don't have a lot of notes. I really don't. I mean, there's a lot to discuss, but like there wasn't anything that like stood out to me like, oh my God, like,
I've got a huge note. I have a hard time getting into any film that's 2.5 hours long with bad dialogue, but I really have a hard time when your main character is so unlikable.
I don't think
What?
I think Sam Worthington is completely serviceable. Oh, and I'll jump ahead to trivia. He was not the studio wanted different actors.
Ben Affleck, I think I read, right?
Matt Damon. I didn't read it. It wasn't Ben Affleck. It was Matt Damon, but also Jake Gyllenhaal. I do think
Gyllenhaal would have been great in this.
Well, he's played Marines before, like Jarhead, like
By the way, he's great in that.
Yeah, I haven't seen Jarhead in a while, but like I don't think Sam Worthington's like he's not memorable at all. I don't think he's terrible. I don't think he's great. I think he's just kind of okay. But I think Jake would have been a lot better.
Even aside from Sam Worthington's performance, which I found to be lackluster at best, but the writing for the main character is bad. Like, you spend the whole first half of the film giving this character basically no redeemable qualities. Like, he is like a prickly asshole, which I get it. Okay, he's got a disability, and the world's obviously shit on him a lot, and he's angry at the world. But you have to make him somewhat likable. And, like, the fact that he's betraying the blue people, and he's betraying the scientists, and he's being an asshole to everybody. I'm like, why am I rooting for this guy at all? I'm not.
I actually think you mentioned that he's an asshole. I think because I guess he does sort of have an arc, right? Because he's like on the other side, and then he learns their ways, and he befriends them, and he falls in love. Then he fights for them at the end. I think they should have heightened him. Like, they should have made him like more of an asshole. Like make him angry that he's paralyzed. Make him be like a dickhead and like talk back to people. And that way, I think his arc would have been a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like,
I agree with that. Like, so that's kind of the thing, though. It's like, if you're gonna make him just kind of an asshole, I don't care about that. If you make him an over-the-top, like, bitter at the world, like, incorrigible dude, then you could have, like, a really full, rich character arc where he learns to love and, like, this kind of... But he just kind of starts off as kind of like I'm just kind of a dickhead, and I
didn't even get it. That's the thing. I didn't even really get a dickhead vibe from him. I thought, to me, he just seemed like kind of a normal dude, in my opinion. Like, he doesn't say or do anything that's, like, really mean. I mean, I guess technically he is sort of the villain, right? Because he has a direct link to the Colonel and kind of giving him info. But, like, I never really got the impression that he was just, like, a bad guy. We needed kind of, like, a cocksure, kind of lovable scoundrel. And, and then he kind of learns to be good. But yeah, I don't know. It's... Not a lot of personality.
Have you watched Game of Thrones?
Of course.
Okay, a Jaime Lannister sort of character arc where he starts off as this over-the-top, like, seemingly totally evil dude, and then becoming this sort of hero would have been so much more powerful, But instead, he kind of starts off as more of more of like a Tyrion, where he kind of just has like a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because he's got a disability, and he's very dismissive to everyone. He makes like snide comments. He doesn't try to connect with anybody. Off the jump. And also, what's with the Michelle Rodriguez plotline?
I just think she's like a stock character who just doesn't have a whole lot to do.
Right. Like, you bring in, I don't know if she's the A-lister, but, maybe close to an A-lister for a very small character that really isn't introduced at all. Like, she just suddenly is the main character's friend, but we don't see that happening at all.
Yeah. I mean, you're making good points. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, everything to me is just so just serviceable. It's not like the worst, but it could be more. You could give more depth to these characters and do more with them and give them more personality.
And I'm a Michelle Rodriguez fan. Like,
see, I'm not. I've been rewatching Lost with Molly, Jeff, and Austin.
Oh, she's in Lost? I've never seen it.
She's in season 2, and she's like the most obnoxious character. And so I hate Michelle Rodriguez.
I rewatched Machete, the Robert Rodriguez, Danny Trejo film.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Is it good?
Oh, Barrett, you would love it.
Is it better than Avatar?
Absolutely. It's seriously. I mean, especially if you like really schlocky, like
I do love my B movies.
You like Dusk Till Dawn?
I do. Great movie.
If you like Dusk Till Dawn, you're gonna love Machete.
Okay, I'm gonna check out Machete.
It's like Dusk Till Dawn had a baby with Kung Fury.
Okay, all right.
Like, it's way over. Like, at one point, he literally like rappels down a building using someone's small intestines.
Okay, well, I gotta stop this podcast and watch this immediately. So,
but anyways, Michelle Rodriguez in this film, she has that's Michelle Rodriguez at her best, where she has this like sort of like, I'm an underdog, but I'm a woman of the people, and I represent the people who don't have a voice, and like that sort of character. And instead in Avatar, we get a Michelle Rodriguez who, there's really just no depth to her character. Like, she's like a get some Marine, and then like the next scene, she's like, oh, actually, I'm going to betray the Marine Corps to save the life of this one dude who I've talked to twice in the film.
Well, I think she was looking at all the destruction they were doing, and they're like, this is fucked up. This is like genocide. So I get it.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you. Not a lot of depth for these characters. I do like Sigourney Weaver. I think she's got a little bit of some swag. She's a little bit. She don't take shit from the military.
Sigourney Weaver she's the shit in everything. I love Sigourney Weaver in every film she's ever been in.
We got the guy from Dodgeball. He's in this movie too.
Which guy?
The guy in Dodgeball.
Oh yeah, the
one who's
scientist.
like, the guy who's like in Dodgeball. He's like, I'm gonna go get a drink. Go to the bathroom.
And his name is like really cheesy. Like that character's name.
I can't remember his name. That's the thing.
I gotta look it up. But it's really. I felt like a lot of the characters had really weird name, like Jake Sully. Like that's the inspirational name of your hero. So I just looked it up. The character's name is Norm Spellman. Really? Like, is there like more of a boilerplate name you could give to your fucking scientist than Norm Spellman? Well,
you gotta think this is what like 100 years in the future. Like I don't know. You think they would have like cool futuristic names? I don't know. Any other things for notes for you? Any other things?
I would say you've got one other note. You have Giovanni Ribisi, who's a really good actor.
Yes, I do like him.
Use him more. Like he does almost nothing, and he's got great range. Like I really like that guy. Yeah,
I did put. So I have a little nitpicks and stuff I wrote down. So obviously he's paralyzed. It's the future, and he says that they can fix a spine. But the economy's shit, and my VA benefits won't do the surgery. I'm just like, that's fucked up.
Yeah. I don't mind. I mean, you know me very well. I like politics a lot, and I don't mind politics in my film when it's done well. I do think that they're a little too heavy-handed with some things, and that was one of the things that I thought like really heavy-handed, where they're like, he's like, yeah, they can fix my legs, but in this economy, I mean, come on. You know?
Well, also, too, with the legs thing, that's the thing. I do agree with you. Like, they could have given the character more range, emotion, and depth. And it's like the Colonel's like, well, if you do this for me, I'll get your legs back. But I never felt like the character never sulked or felt sorry for himself. Like, he seemed pretty capable in a wheelchair without his legs. It didn't seem like it was deterring him from enjoying his life. You needed that scene where he's just like, God damn it, I can't fucking do anything. You know, like, you needed that. I never felt like he really cared, you know, like.
It's one of those things where in a lot of films, if you ever take a film class, like, a lot of the teachers will say, like, don't tell me how this character feels, show me how this character feels.
Right.
They do a lot of telling you how people feel. Like, when I thought it was a really forced piece of dialogue where she's like, why did you join this program? And he's like, maybe I got sick of all the doctors telling me things I couldn't do.
You're right. We needed that scene in the office, the doctor's office, where he was like trying to do some pull-ups or something, and he was struggling.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, like, that's enough. You've done 5. He's like, no, I can do 1 more or something, you know. I just came up with that, you know.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to genocide these people so I can get my legs back. But the whole rest of the film, he never mentions being interested in having his. He's like, I can do whatever I want. I don't let this hold me back, you know?
Yeah, I never got the sense that it was that big of a deal for him. I also put Grace. I love Grace. She's such a dick at first. Like, when you first introduced to her, she's just like, where's my goddamn cigarette?
That's Sigourney Weaver's character, right?
Yeah. Grace, another name. Grace.
Oh, it's like Grace Augustine or something, right?
Yeah,
like,
actually, that's a cool name. I like Grace Augustine. Jake Sully, not so much. Grace Augustine, that's a cool name. That sounds like a doctor name.
Well, apparently it's named after like a Catholic saint or something.
I do like this line. They're pissing on us without having the courtesy to call it rain. It's a great line.
But, you know, that sounds like a line that should have been spoken by one of the Marines. I don't know. Like, it definitely doesn't feel like Sigourney Weaver's character should have said that, right?
Oh, I do love the line. It's like in the very beginning of the movie when they land on Pandorum. Or it's Pandora? What's the name of the planet?
Pandora, yeah.
Pandora. And I love how he's like wheeling outside in his wheelchair, and they're like, oh, look, check it out. It's Meals on Wheels.
So that was
so douchey and like stereotypical, like hoorah Marines, you know.
Yeah, the Marines are all unlikable in this film, and like Alex was watching with me, and she's like they make like 6 or 7 wheelchair jokes in like the first 10 minutes of the film, like all the characters are making comments where they're like, oh, really? They sent us the broken Marine and like shit, you know, like.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to do that, it's fine, but use that to your advantage. Make, like, maybe Jake is like very, that affects him.
Right.
Like, oh my God, I'm sick of them making fun of me. Like, fuck them. Like, I want my legs back. Like, you could have used that to kind of fuel Jake.
The only thing I will compliment where there's a little bit of subtlety is I'm glad that they didn't go really heavy-handed with like, we see that Jake is getting addicted to living in the Avatar body. Yeah. And we know as an audience it's because he can run and walk and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think that they made the right choice by not having him like do a whole fucking monologue about that, you know?
Yes, that's subtle. I did appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also put unobtainium, LOL. Like, that's.
Oh my God. I was just about to bring this up.
Unobtainium. Like, that's your resource. What are we gonna call it? Well, it's hard to get. Unobtainium.
Like, I thought of that because you said Pandora, and I'm like, wait, did James Cameron just Google okay, what's the name of a crazy sounding world? Oh, Pandora. That sounds good. Pandora's box.
Yeah. Oh, it's a hell out there. Oh, it's like you're opening Pandora's box. Pandora. Got it.
Okay, well now let's name the mineral. Let's name it. I mean, it's like James Cameron just got high and started writing down the first thoughts that came to mind. He's like, "Oh my god, this is gold."
Also, is it? Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Is it ever really clear, like, what that mineral does, what they're going to use it for?
Okay, so I looked it up after watching because the exact same thing. I watched it and I'm like, do we know? I feel like there's a lot of things in the plot that they don't like. Do they ever tell you how his brother died?
No, they don't.
Like, isn't that weird to bring a huge plot like, oh, his brother just suddenly died? And they just never mention how or how it affects him or anything. Like he
got shot. I think they said he got shot in the streets, which just seems like I don't know. I mean, or maybe I read that. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah.
But again, the unobtainium thing. It's like I looked it up afterwards, and apparently it's like it's a resource that can give you infinite energy or whatever.
Okay.
It's like basically it's like room temperature nuclear reaction.
Another thing with the unobtainium, like they go through all this trouble, they do the Avatar program, they have people's minds connected to the bodies that they make, and the whole idea is like, okay, we're going to get in good with these natives and teach them stuff and get on their good side, and that way we can persuade them to leave peacefully. But then it's like they just, Jake's like, let me reason with them, and then they just fucking kill him anyway. Why go through all that trouble when you could just...
I agree, especially when they talk about how expensive the avatars are and all this stuff. It's like, if you're going to just kill them in 3 months anyways, why are you spending, however many billions of dollars on this program that you're not going to use?
Yeah, which whatever, it's not a huge big deal because you have to have a movie. But I was like thinking like, that was kind of pointless.
Well, something that my personal taste, I always find in movies like this that they bring up these really interesting dynamics that they never address again. And like for this film, like I want to know what is the backstory that led to here? Like the human race, like apparently Earth is not able to be populated anymore. And is this the government that's doing this, or is this like a corporation, or is the government a corporation now? Or because to me that dynamic's interesting. Like, what is the power balance between the military and the scientists, and where are the government officials here? You know what I mean? Like, we're invading a planet. Yeah, shouldn't somebody important be here?
Yeah, like what's going on with Earth? Like, why do we need this so bad? Is Earth dying? It's not clear.
Because he makes some it's like one side remark where he's like, yeah, well, Earth's not green anymore either, or something like that.
I put the jellyfish things cover him, and then that's a sign that the Na'vi should teach him the ways. That's a sign from their god.
So cheesy.
Okay, so I put this also, and this, I always found this a little weird. So he has to choose a horse, and then he has to later choose a dragon. And he has this little thing that comes out of his ponytail, and it's really kind of rapey.
Yes, I was going to say that, and I didn't know if I could say that.
There's even a line when he's wrestling the dragon, he's got him by the neck, and and the hair thing goes into his hair thing.
And he's like,
you. Yeah, he says that. He's like, that's right, you're mine. And then it's a close up on their eyes, and the eyes get really big, and I'm just like, this is I feel a little uncomfortable right now.
No, no shit. When we were watching it last night, Alex turned to me and she's like, I mean, this is like a rape allegory, right? I'm like, yeah, it is.
I'm like, this is totally rapey. You're raping an animal.
Especially because, I mean, isn't that how they have sex with each other? Is by intertwining their ponytails?
Oh, so that brings me to my next point: the Na'vi mating scene, which somehow I pictured being longer. But it's not that long. It's only 30 seconds. But they're kissing and caressing each other, and then the ground below them is glowing. It's over really quickly. But I was yeah, the dragon stuff, and then that was just ugh. Wait, yeah. So wait, I think the Na'vi can fuck each other normally like we do.
Okay, so I read this trivia last night because Alex kept pointing out Sigourney Weaver's avatar had huge boobs, right?
Yeah, I looked at them. Yeah, they're pretty good size.
And
Solid C's, D's.
one of the things, the trivia that I read, apparently James Cameron, like scientifically, because of the type of creature they are, apparently they shouldn't have breasts or whatever.
Yeah.
And James Cameron was like really insistent, like, no, I want these things to appear sexually attractive so that audiences are attracted to them. Like, apparently that was like a sticking point for him.
Well, so we've come to that point in the podcast. Would you fucking Navi?
I would.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd fucking Navi. Of course I would. Come on, look at me. I mean, I would rather fuck Sigourney Weaver's Navi thing, her avatar, than to fuck a real Navi. I think. Right?
Yeah, I think Sigourney Weaver's Navi was the hottest, and we know she's a really smart person because she has a Stanford shirt. So I want to fuck a Navi that's smart, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's a Navi that's going somewhere.
Yeah, this is a very like kind of. There's a lot of sexual undertones in this movie.
Overtones, I would call them.
Oh yeah, overtones. Yeah, it's just like I don't know, like I felt a little like I don't know, like I can't believe I'm watching this. Also, I love the scene where like. So they just got done like they're starting to bulldoze the forest and I guess they're traveling to that tree, and then he's trying to warn them like, oh, they're coming, and then like the Navi chief is just like, you mated with this woman. I laughed at that.
Yeah,
because isn't she like supposed to marry one of the dudes? But
and that was another thing where it's like a plot line that they introduced and they just discarded so quickly. It's like, hey, she's destined to be with him for life, and like he's all jealous and everything like that. And then like she hooks up with him and everybody's really cool about it. Like this is completely against this tribe's like tradition. And they're all just like very chill, like, oh yeah,
well,
he's one of us now.
They do make fun of him when he like struggles and falls down, but it seems like yeah, I mean, he gives her a couple of looks and stuff, but it doesn't seem like anything too extensive to like, oh my God, like this my girl I'm supposed to marry.
Right, like he's like, I've been planning on marrying this chick my whole life. Oh, she hooked up with another dude? I'll get over that in like maybe 6 minutes of screen time. Like
also I put this and Natiri or whatever, the Jake's girl, she's an awful crier.
Yeah,
it was annoying. Oh my God. Ugh.
I gotta say, I felt bad for Zoe Saldana because she's a really good actress.
Oh, she's awesome. Yeah.
And, okay. And let me know if you don't want me to go down this rabbit hole.
We can go down any rabbit hole you want.
Okay. I think it's kind of weird when you have an all-white cast and then you cast like 2 or 3 black actors to play the natives, and you have these. I mean, they were basically doing like African tribal accents, like when they were speaking English, and I'm like, I like, can you like Zoe Saldana, very serious like actress. She's done some very good serious roles, and for her to like have her do this like broken African sounding English to play this tribal character, like. I feel like that has to have been beneath her, right? Like, she must have hated doing that movie, I feel. I
don't know. I mean, she's probably like, oh, my God, a James Cameron movie. Here's my opportunity. Because I think so this movie took 4 years to make. So I know Star Trek came out before this movie, but, like, it took a while to film. So I think she was probably like, oh, like, this is a good opportunity.
Yeah, I guess you're right. She was kind of up and coming still at that point. But, I mean, don't you feel like it's a little bit in bad taste to have an all-white cast and then, like, the natives are all played by black actors?
So if this was supposed to be – so we have a lot of movies, right, where they get whitewashed, right? They're supposed to be, like, a certain ethnic group. And a lot of times Hollywood's like, well, close enough. I think this is kind of, more, in my opinion, kind of more of a gray area because it is – these are, like – it's like an alien race and it is kind of it's CGI mocap. So I get what you're saying. I give it a little bit more leeway. Now, if this was like a historic movie with like Indian tribes or whatever, and they just cast whatever dark-skinned girl. I probably would have more of a problem with it, but I mean, you're a Na'vi, like.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, though. I do.
It didn't kill the movie for me, but there was especially, it didn't bother me as much when everybody else was talking, but when Zoe Saldana was talking, I was like, her voice doesn't sound anything like this. Like, I could just imagine James Cameron being like, well, do you mind doing more of like a tribal accent, And she's like, kind of like looking around like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do.
No, James Cameron on set was like, cut, we need more racial insensitivity.
Right, like, I was like, come on.
Oh, yeah, her voice is annoying, and she's always like, oh, Sully, you're such a baby. Like, I don't know. The way she talks annoys me.
And also, there's moments where, like, because I know there was like a lot of patting themselves on the back over the language, like, oh, we developed a language, and it's not like any human language and all this. That there are many moments where they're saying things that sound like just like baby talk. Like, there's one point where she says like, "Ooh, owie," or something like that.
Oh my god, I didn't catch this. That's hilarious.
I wish I'd written it down, but it was something really, really, really like baby talk sounding like that, or like maybe ouchie or something. They're like, oh, that's how they say this in fucking Na'vi. That's their pain sound.
I put this down. I love how they all fucking disown Jake, and then he comes. I guess he rapes the big dragon off camera, and then he shows up, and they're all like, "Yay, we love you again!" Like that extra big dragon.
Alex just texted me what it was that she said. It was wakey wakey.
She does say that. Holy shit!
Wakey,
oh my god! I do remember that. She said wakey wakey.
Like, oh yeah, somebody taught her to say that. Really? Anyways.
But yeah. I guess he gets the big dragon, and they're all like, "All is forgiven. We love you."
Like 5 minutes ago, he was a demon.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, all you had to do was just rape the big dragon, and you earn their respect.
Could it have been more obvious that that's what was going to happen, by the way? Like in the beginning where they're like, ooh, yeah, someone rides this thing. And he's like, oh, someone can tame that? And she's like, yeah, it's only happened 4 times ever. Whoever does it, they're a huge badass, and we all love them. And he's like, okay.
Well, a lot of movies do that. You kind of have to set it up. I get it.
Yeah, again.
But, it was super obvious.
Exactly. A little more subtlety, I think, would have made that a little more palatable for me. You know?
I put so basically, the last battle. I guess they're going to destroy the Tree of Souls, which I guess is like the direct link to their god. And that, oh my god, this last battle. Say what you want about the movie up until now. It's fucking amazing. The last 30 minutes of this movie is just incredible.
It's great action for sure.
Yeah, I mean, dragons are like tossing helicopters. That was fucking sweet. I love how the Na'vi are like shooting bows and arrows at the humans, and like the bow and arrow, like the arrow is like fucking like 4 feet long. That's awesome. Yeah. And I will say though, it's very convenient that they're flying on those dragons and they're shooting arrows, and the arrows were going into the window of the helicopters, but earlier they were just bouncing off.
I was literally about to point that out. Like,
I was like, oh, okay.
Because early on, like, they pull up and there's like thousands of arrows and they're just tinking off the windows, like no big deal. And then in the next scene, all of a sudden the arrows are penetrating right through like bullets, you know?
And then I only got like 2 more things. Sully versus the mech suit. I got a lot of strong aliens vibes at the end.
For sure.
Like a fucking amazing scene though. Really fucking cool showdown.
I was hoping to see more. I would have liked if Neytiri had, you know, when she like bonds with the dog creature or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see her like tear some shit up with that thing instead of going straight to like losing a fight against the mech suit. Like, I would have wanted to see her run through, like, a bunch of soldiers and kill 15 guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also, so the colonel, like, wounds the dog, and the dog's, like, on top of her. She just can't get it off. I'm like, it doesn't seem that hard to get off.
Yeah, and
it wasn't like a rhino. If the rhino fell down on you, I'd be like, oh, wow. Like, that must be hard. But it's just like you're bigger than the dog. Why can't you get the dog off of you?
Yeah, I didn't get that at all either. Like, and especially because they cut back to it like 4 times where she's like struggling, and each time I kept thinking like, oh, she's gonna make it out now, and then they would cut back to it again. I'm like, she's still there.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the movie. The Colonel dies, and then they make Jake one of their own. They transfer his soul into the Avatar body. And then the movie ends, and as we mentioned before, we get that horrible Celine Dion ripoff song.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember that song, too. I remember, like, leaving the theaters, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
A little, like, minor disappointment. What's the name of Suitsei? Is that his name? I don't know anybody's names in this movie. The guy Neytiri is supposed to marry.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Suitsei.
So I was really, really disappointed with, like, the whole movie. They kind of build him up, and you just think they're going to do something really cool with him. And then, like, he's involved in the action, but he gets a really inconsequential death where he just, like, jumps into a plane and the guy shoots him and he just falls and dies. You know what I mean? It was like...
Yeah, we needed more scenes with him and Jake, I feel.
Yeah. Like I would have wanted to have a scene where maybe they actually fight each other a little bit and then maybe they fight together or something like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
He just shoots nasty looks at Jake the whole movie and then ends up having a really minor death. For a character to get that much screen time and then die just by some random Marine just goes... and he falls out of a plane, like...
Yeah, I hear you. Should we do trivia?
Sure.
All right, so Avatar, as we kind of talked about, like, very, very long development. It started development in 1994. He wrote an 80-page treatment. This filming was supposed to take place right after Titanic.
94?
He wrote this in 94. So, yeah.
Jesus.
And it didn't get made. Yeah, it didn't come out until 15 years later. And then, so right after Titanic, he wanted to do this in 99, but he felt the technology wasn't there yet. And it wasn't until The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, where he saw Gollum. That was when he was like, okay, I think I can make this movie now. As we mentioned before, they actually got like a linguist to like go in and like create a language. And he created over 1,000 words. I feel like Game of Thrones did this, right?
Yeah,
did they create their own language?
Game of Thrones did a much better job of it, in my opinion, where they created like several different languages, and those like Dothraki is the one that like they use a lot in the series, where they like, I mean, there's thousands of Dothraki words, and I feel like it works much better. Na'vi as a language, I really didn't get it. I didn't buy it. You know what I mean? It was.
Yeah,
it felt like a blend of every tribal language, you know?
Yeah, he was like, okay, I need a word for sleep or wake up. Wakey. Yeah, that'll be good. Also, Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure. Elvish, like, they pretty much created a language for that.
Yeah, although I think that was pretty much taken straight from the books.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, so Tolkien just did all that himself.
Yeah, Tolkien actually produced, well, I shouldn't say produced, he published a book, sort of like what George R.R. Martin is doing with Game of Thrones, where it was like books that just are like encyclopedias of that world.
Yeah.
And he had one that was like about Elvish, I think.
Okay. At the time of auditioning, Sam Worthington was living in his car. Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Well, apparently, like I mentioned before, like Matt Damon, Jake Gyllenhaal, those were the studio's choices. But Cameron wanted to go with like a less well-known actor. I guess he wanted someone that, like I said, was unknown, a little bit more relatable. Like, oh, like this is just a regular guy. I can have a beer with him. And he picked Sam Worthington, which I feel like Sam Worthington, he hasn't really. I feel like he had like 3 big years. He had like. I
was gonna say that he did like nothing else in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, he did like I remember 2009. He did Terminator Salvation, he did Avatar, and then he did like Clash of the Titans, and then that was like it.
And I saw that in theaters, and it was not good.
What, Clash of the Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the only movie I've ever seen at the Commodore in Portsmouth.
Really?
Yeah, it was really nice. Like their sound is great, and but anyways, it was bad.
I thought this was kind of cool. So he's a paraplegic. So they actually like molded a real life paraplegic's legs, and they attached it to him, and then his real legs were underneath the wheelchair, and I guess they digitally removed his real legs.
Yeah, the legs looked creepy to me.
They did. Well, that's what I'm saying. They actually got a real guy's like messed up legs and like made like a cast of it and like put it on him. And yeah, I did notice that. Wow. I was like, wow, that's really good detail right there. Like the legs look really best bad legs in a movie ever. Okay, I don't know if you noticed this. So, and every time I heard the animals like roar, I was like, God, that sounds like Jurassic Park. And they basically copy and pasted the sound of like the Raptors and the T-Rex from Jurassic Park and just put it in Avatar.
Oh, it was like the same sound clips?
It was the same sound clips. I was just like,
really?
What? You would think, like, why don't you make a unique roar or something? I don't know.
I was kind of thrown off because I always watch movies with subtitles on, and I thought a lot of the sounds sounded like hyenas. And
so
it was
those were hyenas. That part where he's got the torch, but
so they did use.
I'm pretty sure that big dog thing or whatever, and I think the rhino or whatever, like those were like velociraptors and T-Rexes from Jurassic Park.
But what tripped me out is the subtitle for that when it was the hyenas.
Yeah,
it said monkey sounds, and I was like, these don't even sound like monkeys at all. Like, who wrote these subtitles?
That's funny. They're like, fuck it. No one will know the difference.
No one's gonna know what animal this is.
All right, Michael Biehn was considered for the role of the Colonel. Michael Biehn was Hicks in Aliens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but James Cameron was like, well, I don't want this to feel like an Aliens reunion. I already got Sigourney Weaver.
I only want it to be 90% of a remake of Aliens.
Right, yeah. Jodie Foster and Jamie Lee Curtis were considered for the role of Grace Augustine. I'm not a big Jodie Foster fan. I love me some Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm not. I like her in Silence of the Lambs. There hasn't been anything else that I've seen her in that I've been like, oh my God, I love Jodie.
Oh, you didn't like her in Taxi Driver?
Oh, that's true. I haven't seen that.
Granted, she was probably 15 or something when that came out, but
yeah. Jamie Lee Curtis. Sigourney Weaver was perfect.
Jodie Foster is who you get when you can't afford Sigourney Weaver, right? Like,
yeah,
she's like diet Sigourney Weaver,
Yeah.
Like the Kmart version.
Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know if I could buy her as like a scientist, but I do like Jamie Lee Curtis a lot.
I like Jamie Lee Curtis, and I say this not in a disrespectful way because I love Jamie Lee Curtis, but she doesn't play endearing the same way that Sigourney Weaver can. Like, Sigourney Weaver plays caring and like loving very well, and that's Jamie Lee Curtis plays like ruthless badass bitch really well, And I feel like the character would have just played totally different.
I don't know. It would have been cool if we got a scene if Jamie Lee Curtis was a cast and she was like an avatar and she did like a little striptease. Like an homage to True Lies. That would have been cool. But
I would have watched that. Yeah.
All right, I got one more. And this I thought was crazy. So Chris Pine auditioned for Jake Sully.
Really?
And Chris Pine said it was like his worst audition ever. Yes. And also Chris Pratt auditioned.
Really?
For Jake Sully. Yeah.
Chris Pratt would have nailed that character.
A completely different character. Because to me, I think Chris Pratt, like I think of Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of like the kind of cocky, kind of Han Solo type, or you kind of go a funnier character, or you go with Parks and Rec, kind of a goofy character, charming.
To me, that's what Jake Sully missed was there's no charm,
Was he supposed to? I don't know if they were going for a more serious character. I just think if you cast Chris Pratt, it's a different character. He's not as serious. It's like, okay, well, this is a funner, yes, like you said, more charming character. But like, God, Chris Pratt, this was 2009. Didn't Parks and Rec come out in 2009?
Yeah, it would have been right around then.
So it would have been like, yeah, he was he was like a nobody back then.
Yeah. My issue with Sam Worthington in this movie is like you said, you can make the character charming or you can make him a bigger asshole. But the thing is, as a whole, I just don't care about Jake Sully. Like, he's not compelling in any way.
Well, you're not the only one. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of people think Sam Worthington is a flatline.
I don't even know if it's all on Sam Worthington or if it's the directing or what. But it's just, give me something to care about with this character. You make him meaningful in some way,
I will say Sam Worthington has not wowed me in anything else he's been. So I think it's a perfect storm. I think it's a little bit of the script and
maybe that's the real reason they're making the Avatar sequels is probably because Sam Worthington's living in his car again. Like, come on, James. Like, you promised me you'd make the Avatar sequels.
Maybe, yeah, you might be right. Maybe James Cameron just doesn't want to do it anymore. But like Sam Worthington's like, please.
I need this.
Oh, I got one more thing I forgot to add. In the original ending, Nateri was going to be pregnant with Jake's child. Honestly, I didn't want to see any like Na'vi pregnant belly. I don't need to see that. That's all I got for trivia. I got categories. So, tell me, what is the best scene in this movie?
The best scene in the movie, probably the first scene when the dog is chasing Sully through, when the rhino things come through and then the dog. I think to me that was probably the most exciting.
Oh, that's a good part. Yeah, I think for me, it's got to be the ending, like the big battle. But I guess more specifically, the final showdown with like the Colonel and Jake. I love that. But it is basically aliens again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I fuck it. Oh, that last battle is amazing. I might just watch the last 30 minutes again of this movie because it is really good. Okay. What is the worst scene of the movie?
Oh, man. There are so many. The worst scene, probably the sex scene.
I was just going to say that. Or the dragon rape.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I'm going to go with the sex scene. I don't know. I don't want to see two CGI characters. And granted, the CGI is very good. That's one thing I haven't really mentioned. Like, I know this movie was heavily green screen, but it doesn't feel like, you look at the Star Wars prequels and you're like, okay, somebody is standing in front of a green screen. For me, I think the environments blended in much better. I didn't get the sense that this was just like, this is just green screen background.
Well, but, I was actually looking, while watching it, I was looking for moments where you could tell that it was CGI or green screen, and I found that even when I was looking for it, I had a hard time finding it, and that's a good thing.
That's a great thing.
Amazing job with the effects in this film.
Yeah, worst scene, I have to go with the sex scene. Okay, best quote. Not a very quotable movie, but I guess if I had to go with a quote, it would probably be like, if there's a hell, you might want to go there for a little R&R. You're on Pandora.
Oh, man.
Guess I'll go with that. Or Wakey Wakey.
I think... I don't know, man. I don't know that there's any quote in the film that really... That's
what I'm saying. It really isn't. It was really hard to, like... There's not an iconic quote or anything.
I mean... Yeah, there's really not an iconic quote anywhere in the film. I mean, all the quotes that come to mind are bad. It could be a bad quote. Like the "I see you." Who thought like, oh, this is going to be a tender, touching, romantic moment when they look at each other and say, "I see you." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was very cheesy to me.
So I see you for you. Okay, no. Okay, this is kind of a hard one. I have this category for every episode I do, but I don't know if it applies here. Best unintentional comedic moment.
Oh,
the sex scene, maybe?
Oh, hold on. First of all, there were several. I mean, I disagree. I think there were lots of unintentional.
Okay, all right.
First of all, the scientist guy that was friends with Sigourney Weaver. Norm McSpellman or whatever. Any scene where he's firing a machine gun is unintentionally comedic.
Oh, when he's like fighting in the battle, I was like, oh god, this guy sucks.
No one is buying this guy as an action hero. Period. Like,
yeah, he goes out pretty quickly too.
I would say, Giovanni Ribisi had a few moments that were unintentionally comedic, where like when he's talking about the shareholders or whatever, he's like, "Look, I don't make the rules, okay?" Like, or whatever. It's like, oh man, this guy really isn't going to take any accountability for the genocide he's about to do. He's like, "Come on, guys, it's about profits," I don't know. And,
yeah. I think for me, I don't know, the sex scene, I don't know, that might be more creepy. I don't know. Anything that Colonel says is kind of unintentionally hilarious because it's just so stereotypical, like douchey military. So anything the Colonel says.
Him, though.
I did too. I love, like I said, I love a little cheesiness and some schlock. I loved it, but I don't know if they meant it to be that,
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, I got 2 more categories. What is the best performance in this movie? Or who is, rather?
You gotta go with Sigourney Weaver.
I think I do too. I mean, she's sassy. I don't know.
I mean, it's no question it's between Sigourney Weaver and Stephen Lang, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah. He's a close second, but Sigourney Weaver, I do like Giovanni Ribisi. He plays that like kind of swarmy, like, he's not in the movie a lot, but he plays that swarmy kind of like corporate tool pretty good.
Yeah. He kind of reminded me of his character in, did you ever see Flight of the Phoenix?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the remake with Dennis Quaid.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me of his character in that because he's kind of the same, like, I'm better than you and I don't have to explain myself to you. Like,
yeah.
Again, like, he's only in the film for, I mean, I would guess certainly under 10 minutes of screen time.
Absolutely,
probably less than that. I mean, so you got to go Sigourney Weaver, I think. Can we talk about the sequels in just a minute after we finish categories?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I actually have something to say too. We might be on the same page. I think we might have just mind melded. All right. Well, last category. Who is the worst performance? I think I know what you're going to say.
It's very hard. It's hard not to say Sam Worthington. I mean, it's got to be between Sam Worthington and Michelle Rodriguez for me. Mostly, Sam Worthington is definitely worse, but for Michelle Rodriguez, I just normally like her so much in other things. I was really let down by how unlikable she was. And also Norm Scully or whatever his name is, I found him to be awful in this film.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a Michelle Rodriguez fan. I don't think anyone in my opinion, I think everything is just very, very kind of bland and just serviceable. It's just like a cheeseburger from McDonald's. Like it's fine, it's tasty, it's not great. It's not Public House it's not 80-20. It's fine. So I guess by default, I'll go with Sam Worthington. I mean, he's not. I don't think he's terrible, but he's never really wowed me in anything he's been in.
He's not awful in the way that Nicolas Cage is awful in something.
Yes, he's not.
He's just flat. He's just not compelling.
Yeah, I don't know, a little bit more. I don't know, pizzazz, a little bit more dazzle with your lines.
Some gravitas,
yes.
Because I can't think of you shouldn't walk away from a film and I can't remember one line of dialogue the main character had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't either. Yeah, I will say it was hard coming up with quotes because there's nothing aside from the visuals. Everything in this movie is just kind of fine. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you said you want to talk about the sequels?
Yeah, so
Sigourney Weaver's going to come back, but she's playing a different character.
Yeah. So
Like, that's stupid.
That's stupid, right?
It's very stupid.
Like, you really can't find a way to. First of all, Stephen Lang's coming back too, right?
Well, I don't know if it's confirmed, but Stephen Lang said, like, well, I don't know. I mean, you think 2 hours is going to stop me? I kind of hope he comes back because I love Stephen Lang.
James Cameron said Stephen Lang is going to be the main bad guy in 2 through 4.
How the fuck do you think he's going to come back? I guess they could use that tree, that thing where they transfer the soul, but also he's been dead for too long because it's been established if you've been weak for too long, you can't transfer into a body because that's why Sigourney Weaver died. I don't know how they're going to bring him back.
My guess, the best guess I have is they're going to find a way to put him into an Avatar body, and he's going to be the reverse of what Jake Sully was in the first one, where Jake Sully was the human who was working for the Na'vi. They're going to make I can't think of his name.
Stephen Lang Avatar?
Stephen Lang
cool.
is going to be an Avatar who's infiltrating them and working for the humans, pretty much. He's going to, I think he's going to, try to overthrow them from within kind of thing.
Ooh, that could be interesting.
That's my guess. I mean, because
I don't hate that. I really don't hate that.
James Cameron has pretty unequivocally said, he's going to be in the next 3 sequels. But that's... If you're going to bring back Stephen Lang using some sci-fi mumbo-jumbo, why would you then bring back Sigourney Weaver as a different... Why don't you just use the same shit to bring Sigourney Weaver back if you want to bring her back?
Yeah, I agree with you. It's weird. It's like... It's going to distract the audience because they're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Is that Grace? It's just weird. Yeah. Why, I don't know, come up with a different character then. I wonder if get a different actress. I don't know.
I wonder if James Cameron is trying to distract audiences and mislead them so that when she does inevitably get brought back as the same character, audiences are caught off guard.
You know what? Yeah, that could be very true. She could just be Grace, and they'll find some way to resurrect her. That's probably what it is. You're probably right. So final thoughts, and then a rating out of 5.
Okay, my final thoughts are Avatar was a very important film because of what it did for CGI and motion capture. It was visually stunning, breathtaking, I would even say. The plot was recycled, the dialogue was bad, and the performances were mediocre at best. I would say I give it... I'm torn between a 2.5 and a 3. It's
you can do a 2.7 if you want.
I'll give it a 2.75 out of 5 stars.
I've been getting a lot of 2.7s from guests lately. That seems to be the popular score.
Well, that's perfectly in the middle of the mixed reception range,
Yeah. I think for me, so I was prepared to give this a 4. You kind of talked me down a little bit. I think I'm going to go, I think it's a solid 3.5. I think, obviously a very, very influential movie in terms of technical innovations. I mean, it is, I mean, when I saw this was one of the best movie experiences ever. I mean, the 3D was incredible. I don't like 3D movies, but this one, the 3D, it elevated it. And I think, so yeah, I mean, all the technical things about this movie, all the CGI, I mean, it's the visuals, that's great. I think, I'm not as down on the performances and the characters as you are. However, I don't think they're anything special. I made the cheeseburger analogy. I think it's serviceable. I think the movie, if the movie didn't have the great technical aspects, this would be an average movie, but it is elevated by all the technical stuff. And I still have fun watching it. I do think it drags a little bit, the love story, I just didn't really care for, but I still had a lot of fun watching this. I mean, I hadn't watched this in a long time, and I still think it's a pretty good movie. So,
to be fair, some of the strongest aspects of the film, are not exactly things like you mentioned that I'm not a big action movie fan.
Yeah.
The action sequences are really good in this film, but I'm just not that big of an action movie buff.
Yeah.
So I probably don't appreciate some of the strong suits of this film as much as you do. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like I said, like the last 30 minutes of the film, incredible. Like that battle scene is one of the greatest all-time battle scenes, I think, in a film.
I did really enjoy it. I don't know if I'd call it an all-time great. I mean,
top 20.
You know what the best battle scene I think I've ever seen in any kind of media?
Let's see. Helm's Deep, Two Towers.
That is
are we talking any kind of medium?
Yes.
Battle of the Bastards, Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
Yes, holy shit, yeah.
Bastards.
Oh, for sure. That's number one, without a doubt.
That is breathtaking. Like, that is such a perfect example of what a battle scene should be, because the tempo is so controlled that, like, do you remember when Jon Snow was getting crushed by the sea of bodies?
That was intense. I was getting nervous.
I was breathing. I found myself breathing heavy while watching that. Like, that's how intense that was.
That is my personal favorite episode of the show, in my opinion.
I said the day I watched that, I said, I think that's the best episode of television I've ever seen.
Oh, it was, for sure. I think that's the best. Yeah, I do. I really do. Shit, I want to do an episode. Well, we can't because it didn't get mixed reviews.
Well, the 7th and 8th seasons.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's another story. Shit. Maybe one day I'll talk about Game of Thrones season 8 and 7. But, hey, Kasey, thank you so much for being on here. You mentioned a lot of other movies you wanted to do. Like, I think we talked about Fight Club. We talked about you mentioned Anaconda. I love Anaconda.
I love it. It's bad, but I love it.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I'll have to have you on here so we can do one of those. But yeah, thanks again. And yeah, that was Avatar. And thank you everyone for listening. And I will see you guys next week.